Hello, my name is Casey Loomis, and this is my 5th visual novel overview video, which is actually a redo of my first visual novel. I'm calling it done on December 20th, 2021. The 4th story didn't end until May 7th, 2021, so the project took a little over 7 months to complete. This visual novel is the longest one so far, with a runtime of 53 minutes. By counting the number of digital art pages I've done, relating to this visual novel, I'm able to get an accurate idea of how many hours have gone into making it. That amount is 197 hours. This means, had I been able to spend 8 hours a day on the project, I could have completed it in a little less than 25 days. This visual novel was completed in a little less than 2/3 the time as the last visual novel. A central theme of the story was dealing with independence. In the story, this was referred to as autonomy. An example of this was when the androids chose to save the dog instead of going directly to the lab. A more direct example of this in the story was the parenting analogy that Nick used. The story character named Me, which represented the viewpoint of the audience, had the most obvious growth thematically when it comes to independence. They started off the story being the least independent, and later accepted their ability to be independent. This visual novel expands the plot of the overall story because while the team believes they are getting access to technology that will solve world-ending problems, what they succeed in doing is convincing the androids to be more independent and grow beyond their programming. The story also shows how the team's assumption about unformatted matter are not correct. For example, the team assumes that when their trip into unformatted matter ends, that everything previously created with unformatted matter goes away. This is shown to be untrue at the end of the story. Another example of how the team's assumptions about unformatted matter are not correct is demonstrated when the androids know more than the team expects them to, such as knowing about the 2-hour limit, or that the character Me contributes, quote, useful vitality to the team. The most obvious unexplained thing that the team realizes about unformatted matter is that it can shape itself in the real world. This was obvious when the dog appeared after the team's trip into unformatted matter ended. It was important to redo this visual novel for several reasons. One of the most obvious reasons for this was the look of the dog. In the previous version of this visual novel, the dog was an adult. The version of the dog in this visual novel is the same as in the 4th visual novel. This makes the series a lot more consistent. Needless to say, the characters Nick and Penelope are also now consistent with all other visual novel episodes. The other reason to redo the first visual novel was because it was originally in a game format, and it didn't lean heavily into any narrative theme. That concludes my visual novel overview video. If there was anything in the video you liked or found useful, please add a like. Comments about any of the content would be appreciated. Thank you for watching.